All right. So if you've watched my channel before, you know that I'm a scary cat, but I went ahead and put on my big boy pants, sat through it, and I watched this movie. So let's talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my movie review for The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. So The Conjuring 1 and 2, I absolutely love those films. I mean, they were really good horror films to me. And with me being a scary cat, I don't know how I can weigh other scary movies against this franchise because I haven't seen them all. I usually tend to stay away because I am a scary cat, but for some reason, the trailers just really intrigued me with the Conjuring movies. I remember sitting down and watching both 1 and 2, not back to back at the time they were released, but I do remember that they were during the day, like around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and I just couldn't watch it at nighttime. But I remember loving them. I remember appreciating those films because it just wasn't cheap jump scares. I mean, the frights really lingered on and just freaked the hell out of me, even with me watching in the daytime. So with this one right here, I was a bit disappointed when I found out that we are not getting the same director. We're getting Michael Chavez, who has a few films under his belt, especially when it comes to short films, but he also did direct The Curse of La Llorona, which I believe came out in 2019, and overall that film left me disappointed and feeling shallow. I liked the intro of that movie, but towards the middle and the end, it just ended up being really disappointing. And that is one disappointing thing about this third film in this franchise, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. However, I do want to give the whole universe, the whole franchise some praise because it is a shared universe with La Llorona, The Conjuring, Annabelle, and The Nun. I think that's really cool that they're kind of, biting off the MCU, how they have a shared universe with their comic book characters. We have a shared universe with these horror movies, and I have seen Annabelle, The Nun, in every film in this universe. And I really do like the way that it connects, all those together. But before I get into all of my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this thing is about. A chilling story of terror, murder, and unknown evil that shocked even experienced real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. One of the most sensational cases from their files, it starts with a fright from a soul of a young boy, then takes them beyond anything they've ever seen before to mark the first time in U.S. history that a murder suspect would claim demonic possession as self-defense. So apparently this film is based on a true story that happened in 1981 in Connecticut. That's crazy, and it freaks me out just thinking about that. And usually when it comes to horror films, I'm able to do a slasher film easy. That does not scare me at all. But when it comes to demonic possession, that really does freak me out, so it's kind of funny that I've stuck with this franchise for this long. And one of the first things that I like about this movie is just the cast. I mean, we have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga coming back as the married couple that does all these investigations with paranormal activity and demonic possession. I don't know what it is about these two, but I love them on screen. They have great chemistry together, and there's just something about them that pops and seems very, very realistic, and that just goes to show how great of performers they are when the camera starts to record. And the acting is not just great between these two, it's great throughout the whole cast. When this little boy and other characters are possessed by demons in this movie, it is very convincing. All the sound mixing and designs they use is pretty compelling and quite eerie, may make the hairs on your arm raise a bit. And for a second or two, that was the case for me as I was watching this movie. Another thing I liked about this film is the demon itself, or witch that's going around and effing with people. I kind of felt like I got to know them personally. That's not anything that I want to happen in my real life or even when I'm watching a film, but it was effective, and it was kind of a different twist that I really don't remember from the past two films. I mean, I felt that I actually got to understand the plot that the demon was trying to accomplish in their goal, and they had a plan, and I like that just for a story point telling view. I mean, they even had a MacGuffin in the film, or multiple, and that's just like a device or something, an object that characters have to find, and it's like a race against time, you know, and hey, we got to find this and do this or this will happen. They actually had a number of those things in this movie, and that's something that I did appreciate. Kind of like, you know, the Infinity Stones in Avengers, or the Cube in the Transformers movies. Those are MacGuffins. So guys, while those are all the things that I really did like about this movie, as far as the acting, the performances, the sound mixing and design, the story, the plot, all that good stuff, those are great. But one of the things that rubbed me the wrong way the most is this movie just wasn't scary. It was not scary at all. I don't know if that's just because my expectations were so high and I thought I was gonna be scared to death. I walked out of this movie, or walked away from my couch. It's like, oh my God, I can go straight to bed. I was tripping this whole time. You know, anybody can watch this and just not be scared. Yeah, they had a couple of creepy moments here and there, but just nothing just popped out and just scared the crap out of me like I was expecting. And that's just a bit disappointing. I mean, there was some point in time, or a few times in this movie, where someone was being demon possessed, and I felt like I could just jump into the screen and fist fight them and come out on top. That's not good for a scary movie. Now, I will say that this film is better than La Llorona. It's also better than The Nun. Out of the 3 Annabelle films, I don't remember them too much. I think I only like one of them, and it's kind of on par with those. So this film is better than those. And I'm not saying that this movie is bad. It's not a bad movie at all. It's still good. It's still entertaining, and it does keep you engaged until the very end of the film. But again, it just wasn't scary. This one was the weakest out of the 3. And while I'm right now focusing on the negatives, I want to go back to one more positive. Is I do like the way the demon did manipulate some of his victims in this movie. I thought that was very clever, and I like the way that was presented on screen. It's really fitting with the title, The Devil Made Me Do It. And when you see the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just kind of like how there was also just deliberation in a court case about, I mean, like, if you're a defense, how can you be like, okay, my client says that they were possessed by a demon, by Satan, by a witch or something like that. It's going to come across crazy. And that's one of the things that carries this film along. And I did think that that was done quite well too. But overall, guys, it just wasn't scary to me, and that is just disappointing. And so it's not a bad movie. It's still a good movie. It is the weakest of the 3 Conjuring films. But if you're just going into this expecting to be scared like you were on the first 2, you may want to lower those expectations. If I had to rate this film out of a 1 out of 10, I'll go ahead and give my rating at the very end, but I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. That is just my opinion. If you want to see the latest episode of my weekly movie news roundup show, you can click right here. If you want to see my review for Game Kings, the definition of game, you can click right here. And also, if you just want to see another cool video, you can click right here. But again, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. And I'll rate this film a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, a 6.5 out of 10.